Greetings. This is Morning Sky. What's current? It's been another shooting. Another shooting. Sadly, a police officer was killed in the line of duty. This is his last tour of duty. This is his last watch of duty, I think it properly is said. Um, it's just really sad. He leaves behind a wife, three kids, and another child on the way. So they'll never know their father. The newborn will never know their father. The younger children may only have a few memories of him. It's really sad. It's not even a game. And it just is reminiscent of a previous shooting where four executives were killed and the gunman turned on. I think he turned on himself. There's question whether the shooter was either killed by police gunfire or self-inflicted wounds. Um, I think that the entire situation is just disgusting because it's that same thing. It's similar or as similar, just like the shooter, that was playing football, went with a firearm and discharged it and killed four executives because they apparently were feeling that, oh no, the NFL is not doing enough to commit to protecting players from CTE and things of that nature. It's like, this isn't the proper channels to do that. You don't load up, firearms and have artillery and different guns and stuff like that, and go and shoot up different corporate headquarters or the CDC. Essentially, for this case, this has been alleged that the shooter was sick and could not get well because of the Center for Disease and Control. Uh, um, they didn't provide him enough support. I guess I don't know, but it appears as though he didn't have enough, backing behind him. He was wearing a surgical mask. He was, displaying that he was somehow ill, probably, definitely ill in the brain, ill in the mind. You wouldn't, and never treated for it, never properly treated. So it's just a sad situation all the way around. It really is. Didn't have to be. This is Duck Duck Goose. We say, where's it going to be? Is it going to be in Colorado? Is it going to be in New York? Is it going to be in Washington? Is it going to be in Mississippi? Is it going to be in? Oh no, it's going to be in New Jersey. Like, this is the weird, world we live in. And it's not. Do not blame the tools. Do not blame guns. Oh, we need to have gun reform. We need to have more ability to show off to take off guns from the market. Yeah, and we'll see what that happens. There'll be thousands and maybe millions of ghost guns made by 3D printers. There isn't an influx of that because of the fact that you need a license to carry or conceal, depending on where you are in this country. That is just a fact. That's just the fact of the reality. And it's so sad that Officer David Rose had to have his life stolen from him. Everybody's saying this is the ultimate sacrifice. This is the ultimate way of selflessness and unselfishness. BS. 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 He was selfish. He was proper. He was rational. He was good. He had it in his mind to be a staunch and strong supporter of the law, and he happened to have his life snatched from him. That's just the facts. This wasn't an unselfish, altruistic, selfless act. This wasn't a sacrificial act. This was selfishness on full display. He had confidence. He had every bit of rationality and thought and truth, as opposed to the shooter, who was irrational, nihilistic, for nothing, and was a nothing. And it just happened to cause this man his life. cost this man's life. Excuse me. So it's very disturbing because the CDC is, I mean, we don't have to have the CDC, but while we do have the CDC, we should not have cuts for it at this point. It should be one of the last things to be considered, like welfare and Social Security and all that stuff, Social Medicaid. They should be considered like on the last in the chopping block. Because there's an element in the CDC, there's an element of science, there's an element of, CDC is kind of like NASA in a way. But NASA's being, kind of mitigated in a sense because of the fact of Blue Origin and SpaceX and all these different organizations, Virgin Galactic, I think it's called. The CDC is our like main driver behind making sure that the American people are healthy and not ill, completely eradicated from any sickness. And I know it's a government agency that doesn't have to be, shouldn't be. There shouldn't be a CDC, Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Shouldn't be a CDC. It's not a proper function of the government. However, as it stands, just like drugs and everything like that, as it stands, it's still law. So if you go to jail for selling a key of crack, that's on you. That's your problem. That's your issue. But there should be no CDC whatsoever. None. But like I said, as it stands, the people that work there, the people that are trying to find ways to decrease the amount of illnesses and sicknesses across this land, they should be sacrosanct. They should be, completely immune. Sorry for the pun, but they should be, guarded against. I mean, I just saw the photographs from the shooting. I mean, it looked like every police agency was out there, city, county, state, federal. It was like a whole list, and it was around Emory University. That's exactly where David Rose died. He passed away at Emory University, and it's just really, really sad. I mean, it's just a sad situation. I'm not going to probably laugh at all. Now, I'm not trying to laugh, and I'll get this. Texas, salute to you, sir. All right, there you go. I was just trying to get to the news, but if you want to go out, you're out. See ya. Yeah, so David Rose, he didn't have to die. This should have been his time. I'm looking at the chat and they're doing some crazy stuff. That's the only reason why I laugh. Let me put the chat away because it's gonna distract me. Let's go to the tape. Let's go to the video.
Evening, everyone. My name is Greg Pedrick. I'm the interim chief for the DeKalb County Police Department. I'm not going to comment on the investigation and what's going on with the investigation that's being conducted by the Atlanta Police Department with assistance from the Georgia Bureau of Investigations. But what I can say, it is with profound sadness that we announce the loss of the life of one of our very own DeKalb County police officers. This officer responded to the call as he was trained to do. And during that incident, he received gunfire and he lost his life in this incident. He was committed to serving the community. At this time, we're asking for the community's prayers for his family, his friends, his loved ones, and the entire DeKalb County Police Department family. It's a noble profession that we all do. We answer the call to serve our community, and he gave his life with a commitment to serve others, and he should be respected for that. At this time, we are not going to release his name with respect for the family, but we will provide his name and photograph at a later time. We ask for your prayers and your thoughts during this difficult time, especially for his family and for all of the officers involved in this incident and the DeKalb County Police Department. Thank you.
Atlanta and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention left shaken after a deadly shooting. Authorities say a gunman opened fire near Emory University, just outside the CDC headquarters, late yesterday afternoon, with at least 4 buildings struck by gunfire. DeKalb County police officer David Rose was fatally injured while responding to the scene. The 33-year-old was a married father of 2 with a 3rd child on the way. Dave Malkoff is in Atlanta with the very latest. Dave, good morning.
Good morning. A really tough day for the Atlanta community, especially in law enforcement. This is the CDC right behind me. The windows were hit with rapid gunfire with people inside there. We're told the gunfire actually came from the CVS pharmacy across the street. On the 2nd floor is where they found the gunman shot dead. Not sure if he was shot by police or if he shot himself.
An alert sent to the Emory University community was crystal clear. Run. Hide, fight.
First reaction is to freak out because something was telling me not to leave the hospital, and I left, and then to see this. But very shocking.
Police say a man opened fire near the school, hitting several buildings at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention headquarters.
I heard what I at first thought was maybe construction, people doing roofing work, but the reports just kept coming, and I kind of grew up around guns, and you figure out pretty quickly that this is not a hammer that you're listening to.
Police say when it was all over, the gunman and 33-year-old DeKalb County officer David Rose were both dead.
We don't have any civilians that have been shot in this active shooter incident. Thank God for that.
Officers responding to the incident heard gunshots at a nearby drugstore.
We later found the shooter on the 2nd floor of the CVS. He had been struck by gunfire. We do not know at this time whether that was from officers or if it was self-inflicted.
More than 90 children who are at a CDC daycare are all safe.
Now, all of those children were reunited with their parents. They were standing out here on the street for a while. Let's talk about Officer David Rose. He had just joined the force less than a year ago here in DeKalb County. He was a father. He had a baby on the way. And right now, he is being mourned by all of the law enforcement community. And Adriana, the FBI, the GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, and also the Atlanta Police Department are all working together to figure out what this crime was and why this man started shooting at the CDC across the street.
All right, Dave, thank you so much. Those details are so hard to hear. We're thinking of that police officer's family.
We have to get this out of the way too. The thoughts and prayers. Our prayers are up to them. Oh, we have to think about them. We're thinking about you, and we're praying for you, and it's just a very, what is it? It's very mediocre. Not even mediocre. It's piss poor. It's a terrible thing to say. Our thoughts and prayers are with you. I know their mind is in the right place, but their mind isn't in the right place. To say I pray for you, I'm thinking for you, it does absolutely nothing. Put some money into his charitable organizations. Put some money into his family. That's how you do things. Not some thoughts and prayers. Put your money where your mouth is. When you use your mouth to pray, don't you put your money where your mouth is. Talk about how I'm gonna send you $7,500 Cash App to help out your family or something like that. We're gonna raise a GoFundMe page that's gonna raise $200,000 for the mother and the children. That's exactly what I was about to ask you, Texas. Sky is an unhappy mofo. I'm the unhappy one. I'm the one that says F the CDC. I'm out. The middle finger and so many things from the past. I mean, I'm the unhappy one. I was just about to ask you if you chew rocks and when you gargle gravel in the mornings, Texas. You never really have anything positive to say. You have only negative and vicious vibes about you. I don't know about you, Texas. Thanks for being a part of this, but if you don't like it, leave. It's not that hard. Click away. But anyway, tap away, whatever. It's in the past, leave it in the past. Yeah, I'm leaving it in the past. That's why I just described what you just said today. I didn't describe anything you said previously. But anyway, David Rose, 33 years old, wife and kids, gunned down, shot like a dog in the street as a police officer, defending this great land, defending his city, his county. And that's what happens when you're a police officer. This is the role. This is what all the crazies have to realize. Oh, they're protecting us, really? Oh, cops, really? That's their job. Oh, I thought it was to defund defund the police. I was going to defund the police. We got to do that, don't we? And then look at this: a cop putting down, charging forth, going forth into the eye of the storm, getting laid down for what? For people that are, it's like the Jesus figure thing. Jesus says, forgive them, Lord, for they know not what they do. That's kind of like what happens here with police officers. He's like, I'm forgiving you because I'm just doing my job. This is my role. This is my profession. This is what I do for a living. This is what I do, to do in that role. Mr. Rose needs to be Sky role model, Mr. Choice Star Terrain is not my role model. He's not my mentor. He's my business associate. That's all we are. That's all we are. Yeah, so just that idea of, defund the police. Yeah, okay, let's defund the police. See how many more shootings and guns, and they just look up like, no, you don't want to defund us. No, defund us. Please do. Make sure we're drained of all our resources and everything. I'm not even gonna get to the bad. Oh, there's bad cops too. There's always knuckleheads and numbskulls in the bunch that make it tough for the rest of the police force. I'm not even going to get into that. I'm going to say, the cops, the great majority of cops are here to protect, and that's it. I mean, I don't even know what serve means. I know what protect means. That's the only role, to protect individual rights. That's what police do. Police protect individual rights. That's their sole goal. That's their sole function. Protection of individual rights. That's it. And Mr. Rose, Officer Rose, he sadly, caught a bullet on behalf of his county, his city, his state, his country. Because it got a whole lot bigger. Because this is the GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. They're investigating this as well. He's definitely going to be on the stack of papers and ideas that are going to go into explaining this. So, I mean, it just is sad. It's just really, really sad. I'm going to try to find another video. That's what it's called. End of Watch.
Just moments ago, the DeKalb County Police Department released the identity of the officer who was shot and killed in today's shooting.
Police released this image of 33-year-old Officer David Rose, who lost his life protecting this community. Officer Rose started working with the DeKalb County Police Department last September and served the North Central Precinct. He leaves behind.
You're proving my point. You're proving my point. Texas, Georgia is an ish hole. Okay. So what else? Do you have anything to back that up? The reason why it's an ish hole? I bet the shooter was not white. I don't think he was. I think you're right. I don't think he was white. I think they actually described him a little bit somewhere. But I'm focusing on the life and legacy of Officer David Rose. This young man, 4 years younger than myself. I mean, that's just this is weird. You know, I'm outliving people that have a specific role in protecting individual rights. That's weird. But I'll go back to this video.
Behind a wife and 2 children with a 3rd child on the way. Again, David Rose was just 33 years old. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight for Fox 5 News Edge. I'm Russ Spencer.
I'm Courtney Bryant. We have live team coverage tonight with reporters stationed outside the CDC headquarters and Emory Memorial Hospital where the officer was transported.
Let's head out now to News Edge reporter Rob Durienzo, who attended today's news conference with Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens. Rob, what did the mayor have to say about today's shooting?
Courtney, Russ, that chaotic scene unfolding just up the road from where I'm standing across the street from the CDC headquarters. Tonight, the entire law enforcement community across Georgia is mourning the loss of DeKalb officer 33-year-old David Ross. A barrage of gunfire near the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and Emory University.
This was an active shooter incident. The shooter is now deceased.
Police say the man began shooting inside a CVS on Clifton Road. Bullets striking multiple CDC buildings.
Officers arriving found a critically injured DeKalb County police officer.
First responders rushed that DeKalb officer to the hospital where he died.
Officers moved quickly to attempt to find the shooter and to neutralize the threat to the community. We later found the shooter on the 2nd floor of the CVS. He had been struck by gunfire. We do not know at this time whether that was from officers or if it was self-inflicted.
Investigators have not released the shooter's identity or any possible motives. Is it believed right now that the CDC was targeted in this attack?
Right now, it's so preliminary. He is a known person that may have some interest in certain things that I can't reiterate right now with any confidence.
We heard the sirens going, we heard the helicopters going, and they had us wait for about an hour and a half on lockdown.
The CDC, Emory University, and Emory University Hospital were quickly placed on lockdown. On top of that officer, 4 others were also taken to the hospital, but because of stress and anxiety. One witness says he went into survivor mode.
I don't want to be a victim. That was it. Didn't want to be a victim, no part of it. So I'm on my way home.
And tonight, the GBI is taking the lead on the investigation, and we need to make it clear this investigation is still very active, even at this hour, in and around the CDC campus. I just walked up to that CVS as close as I could get to it. There's still police tape all over, and GBI is still collecting evidence at this hour. Of course, we're going to continue to track these developments throughout the night and bring you the very latest on our Fox Local app. Back to you.
Yeah, scores of police officers responded there. Rob, thanks. And a DeKalb County officer was killed while responding to that call this afternoon.
Medics rushed him to Emory Hospital where he died from his injuries. As we mentioned, he's been identified as Officer David Rose, just 33 years old. Let's get out to Fox 5's Kim Leffler, who was outside the hospital earlier tonight when a very emotional news conference was held to inform us that that officer had been killed. Kim.
DeKalb County CEO Lorraine Cochran Johnson calls this day a dark day for DeKalb County. Now,
Cougar, I see you in here. Rottweiler, salute to you. Salute to you both. Son to Son 90, I salute to you, sir. Cougar, calm, LLC. Every instance you have to speak objectively. You have to be objective on everything. Everything calls for your objective evaluation, no matter what the case may be. And this is a very objective situation. You have a shooter who is aiming at civilians and happened to find an officer and stole his life from him. It's a pretty objective, situation. It's not. It doesn't take anything else. But yeah. So Cougar, you gotta be objective about everything. You gotta hold everything up to accountability. Everything. All right. I see you, Rob Perry. I'm trying not to be laughing and kikiing. This is pretty serious stuff now. So I'm not gonna be kikiing. Possibly.
As you mentioned, just in the last few minutes, that officer has been identified as 33-year-old David Rose. Now, DeKalb County officials say Rose started with the DeKalb County Police Department in September of 2024 and served in the North Central Precinct. We know he leaves behind a wife and 2 children, with a third on the way. Now, there's been a big law enforcement presence outside of the hospital all day. We also saw several other law enforcement officials, including DeKalb County Sheriff Melody Maddox, Fulton County Sheriff Patrick Labat, and Atlanta Police Chief Darren Shearbaum, who were all here to show their support. DeKalb County officials spoke about Officer Rose's call to serve the community.
This officer responded to the call as he was trained to do. And during that incident, he received gunfire and he lost his life in this incident. He was committed to serving the community. At this time, we're asking for the community's prayers.
These are individuals who run towards danger when we have the ability to run away. So tonight, it is with profound sadness that I stand here and I say to all of those who serve as frontline responders and to our officers that we are here to support you.
Yeah, very heavy day for the entire law enforcement community here in Metro Atlanta. Now, DeKalb County leaders are asking the community to pray for Officer Rose's family, as well as the entire DeKalb County Police Department, as they begin to mourn his loss. Live this evening at Emory University Hospital, Kim Luffler, Fox 5 News.
Our deepest condolences to the department and to his family. Kim, thank you. And our team coverage continues tonight with Fox 5's Eric Perry, who was one of the first reporters on the scene.
He has talked with witnesses there on the scene. Eric, you've seen so many different things transpire over these last several hours that you've been out there. What are you seeing there now?
Yeah, Courtney, Russ. So during earlier broadcasts, I was texting and talking to people inside the CDC. Well, within the last 30, probably 15 minutes there, one of the people inside the CDC came by and said that they've finally been released. And I asked, did you work inside the CDC? And he said, yes, he's been inside since around 4:40 when those shots rang out. I do want to start with the picture inside the CDC where you can see the bullets hit the windows, shattering the glass. We don't believe that it penetrated through that glass there, but you can see just that damage as that shooter is believed to have shot from that CVS across the street there, hitting that building, and it looks like it's quite tall. Now let's get you to some video from the scene earlier. It has been quite a chaotic day, an active day, as law enforcement from all over Metro Atlanta converged here on Clifton Road at that CVS and that CDC as well there. We've seen the FBI, DeKalb County, Atlanta, but also we know that GBI is leading this investigation. At this hour, they were brought in later as they're now combing the scene. Now, I talked to several different people throughout it, but I talked to some people who were inside that apartment complex above that CVS. They heard the gunshots. I want to start with you hearing those gunshots, and then let's go into that interview that I did with a woman who was inside as well.
Construction. It was like an hour and a half ago. I also saw people getting escorted out of the CVS. I don't know if it's hit me. I got a call from my dad and he was like, stay away from the windows, hide in the bathroom.
Yeah, so police say that suspect was found on the second level of that CVS. Most people I've been talking with were not familiar with the second level of the CVS. They believe that might have been something maybe.
Is it me or does this guy sound a little, is that what you were saying, Rod, with me? He's a little, I don't know. Honey. I don't know. I know it's a serious situation, but I was just picking up on, how he was, his inflection and his mannerisms. I don't know. He's probably a great reporter, but whatever. Let me get back to the video.
only for employees, or I'm not sure if that was a part of the apartment complex. But back out here, there's still a heavy police presence, not as heavy as before. We've also seen a tow truck that's just out of camera frame here that's been waiting. I'm told that they will pick up what's I believe, to be the police officer's car, patrol car there, that we saw some damage from Skyfox 5 earlier today. They also told me that CDC entrance is going to be blocked for at least another day. We've actually seen some CDC members, workers coming into work. Looks like they might have had an overnight shift. The officer said, you don't know what's happening here? You might need to contact your boss. You're probably not going to work, as many of those officers or employees who were in there earlier have been released for tonight after being inside for quite some time. Of course, we'll introduce you to some other witnesses here who walk us through that scary moments a little later in this show. Russ, Courtney.
Yeah, just chilling to hear what people experienced who might have been in that area when the shooting happened. Eric, thanks. Governor Brian Kemp released a statement in response to the shooting, saying twice this week deranged criminals have targeted innocent Georgians. Each time, brave first responders rushed toward the danger to subdue the shooter and save lives, reminding us of just how crucial they are. Marty, the girls, and I are thankful for all those who answer the call to serve and who protect their fellow Georgians. We ask that you join us in holding them in our prayers, along with those harmed this evening near the CDC Center.
Similar sentiments tonight from Georgia Senator John Ossoff, who said in part tonight's shooting at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and near Emory University has shaken our community. Alicia and I send our prayers to the family of the officer killed in this attack and the entire CDC and Emory communities in light of this terrible act. We also express our gratitude to all of the first responders who provided medical assistance and secured the scene. Police are also asking drivers to avoid Clifton Road. It is closed as crews are still on the scene tonight. The Emory Police Department says drivers can return once they issue an all-clear alert. And traffic along Houston Mill, Briarcliff, and North Decatur roads are all facing heavy delays as well.
We will continue our coverage of today's deadly shooting after the break, but for now, we'll leave you with this live picture of the scene at CDC headquarters right now. We'll be right back.
Alrighty then. Okay, so let me address a few things. I have to reiterate, since they said it twice, thoughts and prayers. None of that. GoFundMe page, address, to a PO box where you can send, a check or something like that. I don't know if the proper channels are, but I know GoFundMe, a Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Why don't you say that? Nobody says, everybody says, thoughts are prayers and thoughts are prayers and thoughts and prayers. Nobody hardly ever says, make sure you hit up their GoFundMe page. In lieu of flowers, make sure you give them, at least $20, at least $50, and have that, accumulate over time. Thoughts and prayers. Alicia and I are sending our thoughts and prayers. Marty and the girls and I we're sending our thoughts and prayers. That is all bunk. That is all BS. That is all, evasion. I would say that's evasion of the situation. That's all evasion. Because the real thing is the money. Let's be certain. This woman, I don't know what cops get. Military, I know it's $400,000 if you're killed in combat. I think it has to be combat too. It can't be like you had a seizure in your office space in Arizona. I don't think that counts. Texas. Let me address Texas. He says all Sky cares about is money. Yes, I do care about money. It's a great value. Money isn't everything. It's the only thing. It's the only thing. It's not everything, but it's the only thing. You can't name one thing in society that doesn't have to do with money. You can't. It's impossible. Everything has to be bought and sold. Everything has to be traded. Everything has to be either, part of the economy or not. When you're on a desert isle all by yourself, that's when there's no money. You don't have to use any money. But when you're in a society, there's a second person on that island, you're going to have to trade. It may not be, the money we understand as today, but, 2 coconuts and a rock might, mean something, or, engraved among pineapple or something like that. It might mean something. That's the money that you use as exchange of currency. What about the soldiers that got killed in Georgia? Would they get What about the soldiers that got killed in Georgia? Would they get $400K? Are you saying Georgia? What are you saying? What Georgia? Are you saying the same place where this shooting happened? Or are you talking about the country Georgia? You have to be specific. Be specific, Texas. What about the soldiers that got killed in Georgia? I vaguely remember somebody. Texas 817 says, or Cougar says, Texas sells his money for time. Okay. I don't see how that. Were you trying to be detrimental? I think time is money and money is time. That's a fact. I don't know if you're being derogatory or not. But yeah, so you get $400K if you're in the military and you die in a combat zone. I know that for a fact. If you die in a combat zone, yes, they were on duty. So they were on duty where? Yes, there was a shooting at a military base in the state of Georgia. I did not even hear that, but that's what the governor, I think, was alluding to. He was saying how twice Georgians have been under an attack. I'm paraphrasing, but shooting at a military base. I didn't get that. I didn't get that news. This news has dominated it mostly, and that's for good reason, because this is an officer of the law. An officer of the law, his life was stolen from him. He didn't lose his life. His life was stolen from him, and I think that really dominated the stories for the news agencies. That was a dominant part. Son of Sun 90's going at Cougar. Trying to have I gotta block the chat for a second because I'm trying to be serious. Can't be serious looking at the chat, so I put them to the side. It's incumbent upon ourselves to really recognize the reason why I think this is getting the most coverage. Is a black cop in the heart of the South, Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, so much history, so much upheaval, moving up in the world for black individuals to live in Atlanta, to live in DeKalb County. I mean, that's just part of the deal, and I think that's the reason why this has gotten more coverage than the military base shooting. I don't know if anybody was killed. Let me make sure. Let me Georgia military base. I'm gonna look it up real quick. Georgia military base. I don't think there are any casualties. Base shooter. Oh yeah. Oh, I did hear that. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. The sergeant. He had Cornelius Radford shooting 5 soldiers at Fort Stewart. I think no one died though. They're saying he was mocked for his stutter. Five soldiers shot in active shooter incident, Fort Stewart, Georgia. But thank you for that. I was like, I couldn't remember what exactly happened, but I do remember now. Okay, see, this is Texas again. Negativity. Atlanta is not the heart of the South. It's the cesspool of the South. Like no, objective thought. No, consideration of facts and reality. just has to say something negative just to, stir the pot. I don't know. But my comment section isn't working. It's not highlighting when there's a new comment. It's crazy. Fact. Route with me just says facts. But Texas has a high HIV rate. Cesspool. Ooh, okay. Cougar said that. Yeah, I think it's because there was a fatality. And there was a fatality in the Georgia mass shooting with 5 injured soldiers. And I don't know if the shooter committed suicide or not. Maybe the shooter committed suicide, but this was like, we got a cop. We got an officer of the law. And I don't know how much they get. I don't know how much the wife is going to get. She may get like 200,000 to 300,000. I don't know. I don't know how much. I don't know what their metrics are. I don't know what their economics are. Texas don't. Houston does. Okay. He's talking about the high HIV rate. Cougar has a high HIV rate, allegedly. Okay. So they're just trolling. They're just trolling back and forth. Let them do that. I got a show to do. I'm going to look for another video. Okay, here we go.
Investigator Brendan Keefe on the scene. He is positioned right outside of the hospital where that DeKalb County officer was taken. Brendan, I'm curious, is there a law enforcement response out there? We know that when an officer is down, that there are usually several different law enforcement agencies, fellow officers out there showing their support.
Yes, Carly, I was just looking behind me because we have seen a lot of activity. What we have seen is a tremendous amount of DeKalb Police Department cars here. Also DeKalb Sheriff also here, but DeKalb Police mostly here. Lots of hugging. We have seen some folks go in, and we are told there's going to be an 8:30 news conference right here next to where I'm standing. We're all lined up for that any moment. And let me just, okay, they're just going to be moving us in a second. I was just listening to make sure I wasn't missing a briefing. We are told that they're going to be out here at 8:30, so that's about 21 minutes from now, giving us a briefing. You heard Chief Sherbaum essentially deferring to the DeKalb Police Department, and out of respect, there is an officer down, and out of respect, they are not going to break any news about another department's officer. And they're going to wait for the DeKalb Police Department to come out and tell us the news. But we have confirmed from multiple high-level sources that a police officer is dead. And that wasn't refuted in that news conference. They were just merely deferring to the police department involved because they weren't there to be able to break that news at the moment, essentially. And also, we are told the family is inside the hospital. And so the family is briefed, the family knows. We always withhold the notification of the death of a police officer until we get that confirmation from the police department involved, because we do want to make sure that we are not the ones informing the next of kin that has happened. But the law enforcement family here, you can definitely feel it. There's this palpable sense of grief. But also, as I mentioned, just before that news conference, when we were analyzing that video that Anastasia almost did such an excellent job describing, the most definitely lives were saved here. Whether or not the suspect, the shooter, was killed by police gunfire or by a self-inflicted gunshot wound, we do know that that shooter was boxed in and was in the second floor of the CVS because of that massive police response. And so they were, so long as police are engaging the shooter is not engaging the public. And so it is absolutely clear at this point that lives were saved. We know from multiple videos, some of which we can show you, some of which are on social media and aren't cleared for broadcast right now, that there were multiple gunshots. And we do have reports of a rifle involved. I mean, there could have been mass casualties here, And according to police, there are no civilian casualties. So it is very clear that the police response here has saved lives. It's obvious. We don't need an official to tell us that because the facts bear this out, simply because the police were engaging the shooter. The shooter has been neutralized one way or the other, and the shooter did not take out any civilians, which is extraordinary when you see those bullet holes that Andy Parati was able to get photographs of from CDC employees. And by the way, that's from Andy's deeply sourced within the CDC because he has done so many investigations involving the CDC. The CDC employees trust him, and he's connected with them. And he is also plugged into signal chats with them. So he was able to see those photos before anybody else and was able to get those cleared to bring to you. So we are starting to piece together more and more of exactly what's happening here. And unfortunately, here in the next 20 minutes or so, we're expecting to get official word that a police officer has been killed. We have confirmed that through our sources, and we may end up learning the identity of that officer and also some more information of how that officer was killed. So,
all right. So that was from previous reporting, and they did not yet know whether it was Officer Rose or not. I think it is time for us to say the reason why I chose to put the title as Officer David Rose dead at 8:33, because that is what usually people say about celebrities and artists and athletes and stuff like that, and they've contributed to, you know, their own lives and made fortunes and made great strides and done wonderful things. You know, dignitaries, politicians, you know, things of that nature. They usually get their name and when they died, at the year of the age at which they died. So I wanted to just put that out as an officer, you know, as an officer up there, to be regarded as such, regarded like a dignitary or a politician or a celebrity or actor or actress or musician or something of that nature. He didn't get any Walk of Fame. He didn't have any Golden Globes or Oscar awards or Billboard awards and VMAs, and he wasn't in the 3,000 club. He didn't have the most assists or most points in the NBA. He just was a man who stood on principle. He stood on his integrity. He stood on honor. He was able to probably save a lot of lives. He was probably able to save a lot more lives because of the fact that he drew attention to himself. Like, come and get me, hit me. You know? So that's how I think that went. Yeah, that's what they say. Texas is saying Jesus died at age 33. I think he's just putting that out there, you know. It doesn't mean anything, but you know. This is the reality of this show. So I think with the knowledge of, you know, the people that are around us, this is another example. I'll say it again and again and again. Defund the police is one of the most heinous, ridiculous, evil, backwards, disgusting notions that anyone could ever perpetrate. Oh, but there's bad ones. There's bad policemen. Okay, yeah, there's bad doctors too. There's bad nurses. Nobody ever says defund the doctors, defund the physicians, or a few people. I guess this shooter really was trying to say that. He was probably one of the people that would say defund the, you know, the medical community. But that's not as widespread as defund the police. That sentiment of F the police, Yeah, we get it. You probably had a personal experience that wasn't so pleasant. It probably happened over a few times, not just one incident, and that just like riled up into you. And you make a song that just to keep the measure right and keep the rhyme and the scan correctly. You just say F the police. F the police. That's it. F the police. That's it. F the police. Not F the poor and terrible and vicious police people that hide behind a badge, that are actually cowards, that aren't heroic, that aren't upstanding, that lack integrity. Those are the ones that you have to say F the police to, not like the late great Officer David Rose. He was a shining example of what it means to be a police officer. He could have hid. He could have said, "Hey, can I get somebody else on this? I'm good. Like I don't feel like doing this right now." He could have done that, and people's lives probably would have been shattered. Probably been injuries and fatalities. But he chose. He said, "You know what? I signed up for this. I knew this could happen. I'm all right with it. It's right. I'm right with myself. So let's go. Come on, come with it. Come and get me." And he stood on business. He stood 10 toes down. So we have to, just consider all that. I'm gonna see if I can get another video.
Shooting at the This morning, investigators are sharing new information about the shooting at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention headquarters in DeKalb County. They say the shooter and an officer are dead, and 92 children who had to shelter in place during all of the violence are safe. We have team coverage this morning with Atlanta News First reporter Sarah Hammond live at the DeKalb County Police headquarters. But we start now with Atlanta News First anchor Rick Folbaum live outside of the CDC. And Rick, we just learned more about the accused shooter in this case.
That's right, Megan. We are hearing from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, which is the lead agency investigating this event, and they have given us a name. This is the first time we're hearing this. The name of Patrick Joseph White, 30 years old, of Kennesaw, Georgia. Apparently, this is the man who came here to the CDC headquarters and fired directly at the building yesterday afternoon. Now, walking around this morning, you would never know that there was so much violence and horror that unfolded here. Really, aside from some crime scene tape, no sign of the tragic events. The CVS pharmacy, very quiet, very few people walking around. But take a look at how different things were last night at around 5 when police engaged with this gunman who had already opened fire on the CDC headquarters building, leading to this entire area being placed on a lockdown. Listen to this man who works at the CDC.
I was sitting at the light waiting for it to get green. I noticed a gentleman sort of walking on the sidewalk with what I thought looked like fishing gear at first. And then he sort of made a left, walked up a couple of steps in front of CVS, put his backpack down. That's when I realized that they were, I think I saw 2 rifles, but I can't be certain. But by the time, just before the light went green, he raised the rifle sort of at an angle and started firing into CDC's campus.
And you can see some of the damage that was done as we push in tight there on the outside of the building. You can see bullet marks on the side of the CDC. By my count, at least a dozen bullets fired directly at that building. Again, there was a shootout with police officers. David Rose, the DeKalb County police officer, was tragically struck and killed as was the suspect here, whose body was found on the second floor of the CVS just over my shoulder. There are reports that perhaps the shooter was disgruntled, upset with the CDC over the COVID-19 vaccine. That has not yet been confirmed. But again, a tragedy unfolding here on the streets of DeKalb County, right outside the CDC, resulting in the death of a DeKalb County police officer. And that's where we turn now to my colleague Sarah Hammond, who's outside DeKalb County Police Headquarters with the latest on that. Sarah.
That's right. The shooting last night claimed the life of 33-year-old Officer David Rose of the DeKalb County Police Department. He was responding to that.
Hold up. I'm looking at something. Hold
Report
up.
of
Are y'all seeing this?
An active shooter.
Y'all seeing the flags? Are they at half staff? Can you tell? Usually they put them at half staff. I can't tell if they're at half staff or not. They should be. Cougar says something is wrong in society, Skylar. Walking around with a rifle in Atlanta and New York, not normal. Hey, it's not just society, it's the individuals. It's not society, it's a collection. Society is just a collection of individuals. It's just the singular person that has a mindset that is against reason and is against rationality, and they take it out on everybody else. It's the same mentality Osama bin Laden had. It's the same mentality that serial killers have. It's the same kind of mentality, just destruction for the sake of destruction and nihilism. That's the disgusting part about it. That's the sad part. But I think those flags are either half staff or should be half staff. I can't tell from that shot they're in. Let me see.
Near the CDC. When he arrived, he was almost immediately shot, rushed to Emory Hospital, where he later died. Now, we saw members of the DeKalb County Police Department and fire departments earlier this morning lowering flags to half staff to honor Officer Rose. The 33-year-old joined the DeKalb County Police.
I jumped the gun. I was just making sure. I was like, wait a minute. We need to have them flags at half staff. What's going on? What's happening? Those flags need to be at half staff. Definitely. This is a man of color who loved his city, state, and county and country. Cities, counties, state, and country. And wanted to defend it. Wanted to defend his own life, but it was stolen from him. It was taken from him. Let's continue on. It matters because he's a man of color, because in the history of police force, there have been very few black policemen. Very few. I don't know what percentages, and I'm glad you're saying it, but it's completely relevant. It's absolutely relevant that he's a man of color, a police officer. He chose to join the biggest gang in the world, the blue, not the Crips, but the men in blue. And as that saying goes, the man in blue is a friend to you, or the man and woman in blue are a friend to you. Yes, we are all just Americans, but it makes sense because of the history of this country that he was probably FBA. I don't know. He may have been a tether. I don't know. Whether whatever his background was, but it's a fact that the history of this country, has to make the difference. This is why I'm still, battling and trying to fight the idea of black men wearing dresses. Black men wearing dresses in TV shows and movies and stuff like that. I'm just saying there's never been, I'm going to say I've never seen a man who was shot, stabbed, castrated, put his genitals in his mouth, set on fire, and put up in a tree that was a white man. I didn't see it in a black crowd around it, or a white man being on a pyre being burned alive or burned after he was killed. I didn't see any of those pictures, so it's a different history. It's a different history with black and white and brown and red and yellow. Texas says it don't matter. It was just as bad as and sad if he was Asian or white. Yeah, I'm just saying. He just happens to be a man of color. You have never seen that in your life. Yes, I have never seen that in my life. Never. I don't think that I will ever. Never seen it. I've seen lynch mobs. I've seen all kinds of things like that. Go after black men. For this man to be an upstanding citizen and a great father and husband, allegedly, that's extraordinary. That's what's really interesting. But I'm gonna finish this out. I'm gonna finish this story out.
Academy in September of last year and graduated this past March. Before joining the department, Officer Rose served as a Marine for 4 years, which included a deployment to Afghanistan. The department says his life was defined by service, both to his country and to the people of DeKalb County. Rose leaves behind a wife and 3 children, one not yet born.
Today is a very dark day in DeKalb County as we stand before you during the loss of one of our beloved officers. This evening, there is a wife without a husband. There are 3 children, one unborn without a father. There is a mother and a father, as well as siblings, who also share in this traumatic loss.
Salute to Hemp Lord. I see you coming in. Let me answer Texas's question. Texas, it matters because of history. You can't deny history. You can cover it up. You can try to distort it. You can do everything like that. But history stands no matter what. It can be whitewashed. It can be blemished. But it doesn't matter. That's why it matters in this day and age that you have history. That's why the teaching of history is so important. You are just like The View, makes everything about to race. Well, that's what it's all about. This whole country is about race. What do you think? Duh. Like The View, this whole country is about race. It's all this country is. It's about race. If you can't see that, then I suggest you go to your local community college and take a few courses in history. Sad. Then it's sad. I don't know what's sad, but Texas just says sad. Hemp Lord, I'm looking for that donation, sir. Send me a 20-piece to my Cash App. I appreciate it. I'm going to wrap it up with this.
Details about funeral services will be released at a later date as Officer Rose's family and his fellow police officers continue to mourn his death after he was killed while responding to that scene. A response from law enforcement that Atlanta police credit with no civilians getting injured in this shooting. Live from the DeKalb County Police Department headquarters, Sarah Hammond for Atlanta News First. Rick, back to you.
All right, Sarah, and our condolences, of course, to the officer's family and colleagues at the DeKalb County Police Department. Just a tragic turn of events here. Again, the late breaking news from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. The shooter's name, Patrick Joseph White, 30 years old, of Kennesaw, Georgia. The GBI says their investigation, Megan, is active and ongoing. Back to you.
And Rick, it's incredible no one else was injured when we see the bullet holes in those windows at the CDC you just showed us. Thanks to Rick and Sarah for the latest.
True.
Governor Brian Kemp issued a statement following the shooting, saying in part, quote, "Twice this week, deranged criminals have targeted innocent Georgians. Each time, brave first responders rush toward the danger to subdue the shooter and save lives, reminding us of just how crucial they are. We ask that you join us in holding them in our prayers, along with those harmed this evening near the CDC Center." Senator Raphael Warnock also weighing in, saying in part, "I am devastated that our community is facing yet another tragedy of gun violence." Be sure to download the free Atlanta News First app for all of the developing updates as we learn more about this shooting, and we will send them directly to your phone.
All right, so That's it. I'm gonna, wrap it up. Say, salute. This is final watch. His last watch. Officer David Rose, 33 years of age, leaving behind a wife, 3 kids, and 1 on the way. Such a sad situation. That's what I hope Texas Carnage is saying is sad. It's very sad when you have somebody that was so courageous. He's a fellow Marine. He is a Marine. He'll forever be a Marine. But that's what we're taught too. Go for it. Go, gung ho. Don't get scared now. He wasn't scared. He was definitely about his business. He knew what the role was. He knew what the assignment was. He knew all of that. So I have to say salute and farewell to Officer David Rose, and may your memory forever be emblazoned across the minds of not only Georgians, but also Americans and people of the world at large. And I'm going to sign off with that. Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody that came through. Thank you very much for putting in a few more, at least a little over an hour with me. This was a pretty heavy, pretty serious subject. I wasn't keying, so I'm going to applaud myself for that. And I'll see you sometime tomorrow. Thank you very much. Take care.